Okay, my dear friends, I just want to share with you the story of life. Every single thing that we go through is a story. Let's break it down first. You know, let's go through a couple of the different stories that exist in this world, and we'll see, are they even true, or is the whole thing a fantasy? Almost every single philosophy will tell you that people are basically living in their own imagination of what reality is. Plato said that, it's like we're living in a cave. I think it was Plato. And, there's like a whole screen. And, the secular philosophy, what is the value system? It's basically whatever Russian disinformation, any type of sexual desire is okay. Well, is it making you happy? Well, actually, people are committing suicide in levels that were never seen before. The religious story, there's a God, but then within that, there's a very big spectrum. What exactly does God want? Islam basically says if you kill yourself in the act of killing someone else for jihad, there's a heavenly brothel, and God's going to give you 72 wide-eyed virgins. Is that story true? It doesn't make any sense. Why would God want you to kill people? Why can't you even just talk to them and try to convince them? So the whole thing doesn't make any sense. I don't want to go into other religions. I'm not here to offend anyone. I'm religious myself. But the real question, this is my field, the field of Jewish mysticism, what is the truth? What is a true story? And the truth is, this is from Jewish mysticism, it's 5 things. Number 1, in the beginning, there is only the force of reality. And that's one, simple one. And then that one, just like a parent wants to have a child and has love for this child, reverence for this child, sees the greatness of the child, gives birth. And the birth is our world. And our world is a time, space, soul dimension. And we all have a purpose in this world. He loves us all, whether you're Jewish or Gentile, even a physical object, a tree. It all is spirit. And spirit, we're all interacting. The world can't exist without anyone. Take out any of these, gravity, take out anything, the world falls apart. Male, female, for sure it falls apart. And then God, because he loves us, he wants to have a relationship with us. So what does he do? Well, first, he gave us the Torah, gave us the Bible that gives us wisdom, but also he created a society. Eventually, people threw off, having to be subjected to kings. And they said, okay, we want democracy, we want freedom. So eventually they go for freedom. And then eventually they're like, okay, what's the truth? It's very nice, I'm free, but I don't feel very free. I feel, in fact, miserable. I feel aimless and purposeless. And 62% of the world, it's a huge number, 60, that's billions of people, all of them individually growing up in this kind of reality, have come to the same conclusion, that there's a God, and God loves me. And here's the big thing about it, and only Jewish mysticism says this. I have a student, she's a psychiatrist and internist, she's very knowledgeable in Buddhism. And even within the great spirituality of the East, nobody understands this point, and that is that God is unlimited, and therefore you are too. I'm going to say that again. That's a very, 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 very powerful statement. God is unlimited, and therefore you are too. One more time. God is unlimited, and therefore you are too. We can't even conceive of the fact that we're unlimited. And so therefore, when you turn to God and God comes to you and you have a personal connection to God, then that's not something that gets defined by religion. Religion is the basic ethical framework of right and wrong, and it has to be the right religion. And if I may say, as a rabbi, the right religion is God came to the only time, I'm not trying to put anyone down, but, if Muhammad was on drugs, then 1.8 billion people are making a really big mistake. He says he was a prophet, but he didn't say any prophecies, right? And the only one that witnessed the one miracle that he did, which was the flying donkey, was the donkey. So I'm not putting anyone down, but there was a study of 150 religions, and every single religion has the same story. One guy comes up with an idea, maybe 12 disciples, billions of people are following 12 disciples. 300 years after it happened, the book was written. So the point is, the only time there was a revelation that I shouldn't say the entire world, that millions of people, millions of Jews, millions of Gentiles saw it, was the giving of the Torah, which is celebrated and recognized by Christianity, by Islam, by Judaism, which is the majority of the world. And now, this is very, very important to understand. Many people don't know that God gave two religions when he gave the Bible. You know, everybody's basically, the Dalai Lama said, everybody's trying to imitate the Jewish people. But, here's the but. What a lot of people don't know is that when God gave the Torah, he included you, whether you're Jewish or not Jewish. Because again, we're all a big family. God is the Father, and we all have jobs and roles within this world. And therefore, the Jewish role says, B'ni b'chor Yisrael, my firstborn son, the Jewish people. The Jewish people are the firstborn child. And the firstborn child, according to the Torah, you have to give it double the portion, double the inheritance. You know why? Because he has double the pain. Because the parents put all their pressure on the firstborn, because that person is the role model, subconscious, but that's the way it works, the role model to everybody else. Now, this is very important to understand. When God gave the Bible, he gave 613 commandments to the Jewish people, and there are 7 universal laws called the 7 laws of Noah, which apply to everybody. Go to Chabad.org, I'll try to put a link. But the bottom line is that we all are included in the giving of the Torah. You don't have to be a Jew to get to heaven, but you do have to follow the Jewish way, the Jewish religion, which means, it doesn't mean all the restrictions. For example, keeping kosher is a commandment for the Jewish people, but it's not for the Gentiles. The Gentiles have the 7 Noahide laws, which is another thing, not to kill an animal, not to eat from an animal while it's living. You know, so a person has to have compassion, basically. So the bottom line is that you have a special role in God's world. Now, that's the ethical framework, and it's very important to understand this. I don't become holy by just doing what God says. That is the basics. It's like a child that you teach him, say please, say thank you, don't be mean. That's really important. Let's be honest, when we see the rude comments on YouTube, I'm sure a couple of you will have a couple of rude comments for me too. So the rude comments, that shows the world has gone out of whack. People have lost sense of basic respect and decency. But, and here's the important but, when you have a connection to God, it's not only does the general structure of the please and thank you, the 613 commandments for the Jews, 7 Noahide laws for the Gentiles, apply to you. Listen very carefully. The infinite connection and relationship with God begins. And now you have to understand that you are infinite, which means you are never going to die. Your soul, whether it's in heaven, we believe that the Messiah, which is about to come, allows the good people to live forever on earth. But the main thing is, where is your consciousness? You know, if your consciousness is connected to truth and to God and to growth, then God, the entire world, is literally a video game, and everything you see and hear, and sometimes ideas that come into your head, is messages from God. Now, what are these messages about? Well, sometimes it's a message. You saw somebody that needs help. God is saying, go help that person. Sometimes, and most of the times, it's growth, because we can all infinitely grow. Nobody arrives at being holy, right? People have saints. Nobody becomes a completed person. A person once became religious. I said to Lubavitch Rebbe, one of the greatest saints, if I can use that terminology in history, if not the greatest, many Jews think he'll be the Messiah. So he said, Rebbe, before I was religious, I was not complete. Now that I'm religious, I'm complete. So the Rebbe said, being religious means you're not complete. And completion is not religious. What is life about? Life is about growth. It is about entering into a relationship with yourself, because you yourself must understand that the body part, the conscious part that you know of, which is you with your intellect and emotions and your ego, that part is just the screen in which the movie is playing. But this movie comes from an infinite source. And so therefore, because God loves you, you will always be able to learn more. You will always be able to grow more. So now that makes you humble. You are not Mr. Saint because you discovered God. You are actually just a humble character in his infinite story. I like to say history is his story, and you are a part and you have a part in his story, which is nice because the difference is any other delusion of grandeur is still limited because the best we know, nobody has made it out of this world alive. So that means all of their illusions of grandeur die with them. Except if you're connected to God and growth, the consciousness that you are, continues indefinitely. The goodness that you do continues indefinitely. These are the two currencies that grow forever. So in conclusion, we have discussed 5 things that are the real story of life. Number 1, there is only one. Number 2, the one loves you and me and everyone and everything unconditionally. That's why we're here. Number 3, we all have a part of his story. I am, for example, how do I know who I am? I like to say people don't know their identities. The way you know your identity is how are you born? I was born a Jewish male. That makes me, believe it or not, a Jewish male. And that means my job in this world is to be a Jewish male. Now, we all have special talents and gifts. It happens to be I come from a rabbinical family, and it's no wonder that I became a rabbi, and my talent and my gift is to be a rabbi. So what do I have to do? Stop with the illusions of grandeur. I'm going to be a millionaire. You're going to be a rabbi. That's your job in the world. Somebody else is meant to be the millionaire and give charity. Your job is to be the rabbi and encourage people and maybe distribute charity, but that's not your job. My job is not to be the millionaire. My job is to be the rabbi. Okay, we got that clear. Now, of course, as a male, I should get married, have children, which thank God I have, be good to them, be kind to the people around me, etc., etc. If you're a female, your job is to be a female. If you're a Gentile, 7 Noahide laws. Again, because we're in a very special time, in the Messianic era, therefore God has given us the ability to seek the truth, which is a big thing. Most societies, even today, do not have freedom of speech. They do not have freedom of thought. And therefore, people just follow what everyone else is telling them. But you have the choice. And when you seek God, God becomes connected to you, which means just as God is infinite, you are infinite too. And you can continuously grow. And last but not least, I want to share something very, very important. And that is that the world has a finality. It has a good ending. In the beginning was the story that I told you. But the end is that very soon, maybe today, tomorrow, certainly before Passover in 3 days, God is going to create the resurrection of the dead. And if what I'm saying resonates with you, it's very important that you convert to this ideology that I'm telling you, because this ideology, like I said before, is the only verified ideology. It comes from God in a revelation that came to millions of people. There was no other religion that came to millions of people, written down. And what this means is that the good Jews and Gentiles will live forever, resurrection and live forever on earth. And now this is the finality of it. The third temple will come. Jews will be magically brought back to Israel, as it's already happened. I'm broadcasting from Israel. This is a clear miracle, never happened in the history of the world. A nation disperses and 2,000 years later comes back to their homeland. Clear sign that the Bible is true. It said it clearly and it happened. And we then what? Get to enjoy the fruits of our labor. The world will be peaceful. It will be prosperous. We will all have whatever we want, and we will continuously ascend spiritually. If this video was meaningful to you, I encourage you, I implore you, don't not think about it. Think about it, because this information comes with thousands of years of Jewish wisdom, my own personal life journey, and I believe it to be the truth. And once it's the truth, and we align ourselves with the truth, then we help the truth become more integrated within reality. We're all a piece of reality. And as you align yourself to the truth and share the truth with others, we all become both special and integrated. We can be both. We can be both holy and wholesome. We can be both united and individuals at the same time. And that's the beauty of the system. It doesn't say we all are in a cookie cutter. It doesn't say we're all the same. No, we're all unique and we're all connected We all have a relationship with God. We all have an infinite relationship with God at the same time. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more information, check out my website, KabbalahWisdom.org. Sending you much love, much blessings, and see you in Israel at the Holy Temple this Passover. Thank you so much.